Beth was also relentless in this regard. Lefiya's naive thoughts were crushed by him. Not only did they put reality in front of her, but even insulted her. So feet that are mightier than that, or fists will fly. His strength abused Lefiya with a force far greater than hundreds of insults. Show Lefiya how difficult it is to live up to her expectations. Bete Loga was indeed stricter than anyone else. Just as Lefiya expected, no, it was more than she expected. Sure, I happily asked that person. So Lefiya was very happy. Tears gathered in the corners of her eyes, saliva flowed from her mouth like silk threads, she coughed incessantly, overcome by the pain of not being able to nor laugh, but still laughing in my heart. Beth would hit her hard with reality. He let Lefiya know how difficult her choice would be. Wolves know the truth about the strong prey on the weak. There is no ugly face that will be revealed. No humiliation either. From the beginning, there is nothing to lose dignity. After all, Lefiya has already lost something important. So now, she already knew how humiliating it would be. If that level of shame could go further, she would love it. There is also a price to pay. All precious time is devoted to this. When she willingly endured Bete's violent abuse, she accepted it and finally got over it. The Lefiya of tomorrow will definitely be stronger than the one. Today's Lefiya. Please, do it again, one more time. Seeing the girl lift her knees off the ground and try to get up, Bete closed her mouth for a moment. In Lefiya, who now lacks everything, there is one thing that Bete only recognizes. This is enlightenment. It can also be called an obsession. No matter how hurt she is, no matter how much she is hit by cruel words, the current Lefiya will rise up immediately. She clenched her fists, she would slam them back even as her knees began to shake, and then she would wipe away the tears that gathered in the corners of her eyes, returning to her. Bert's abusive vortex. Some people even thought that the girl's current posture was a little dangerous, but Bete wasn't going to stop it. Instead, he resisted the urge to lift the corners of his mouth and voiced welcome. As if to say, nobody wants to disturb the moment when what he called the weak fish is about to change. Bete narrowed his eyes and stopped using the excited tone now. Listen, think about this. Think about the difference between an attacker and a vanguard. Think about your position. Think about the problematic position of a mage. Yes. As far as Bete started to point, and Lefiya nodded in surprise. If I want to fight people, magic swordsmen are the easiest. Those people are just taking advantage of them. Do you know why? I don't know. Because they're all on the same level, whether they're singing or attacking. The incomplete ones are the most useless. Just like you right now. Because I know that the opponent is weaker than me in a fight, so I just need to challenge him head on. As long as I have a small advantage, the opponent will be afraid of the explosion of magic power, and I will lose my position. So it's just some bullying. The magic swordsman's parallel corner isn't scary at all. Lefiya's cruel assessment came from her own experience. To this day, during training with Bete, Lefiya has lost control numerous times and is at the mercy of magic power. Lefiya herself affirmed Beth's bitter opinion about magic swordsmen. As if her own conscience, her friend filled this. Her existence being denied by him, Lefiya tightly gripped the dagger and staff in her hand. But the scariest thing is not the parallel corner. The magic swordsman, no, the most terrible thing for a wizard is the eyes. Eyes? Bert's words continued. It's the I that started singing with self-destructive intent, the kind of guy who wants to play the magic anyway, like a beast. Lefiya suddenly realized. She understood exactly what Beth was trying to say. At worst, a mage who will die even if his magic power erupts is the most troublesome. Man, that alone is troublesome. At an old woman's level, even that bomb can be used as a strategy. Using chant to lure the enemy to falter and lure them to approach recklessly. This has something in common with the bait attack that Riveria once taught her. She will use this type of bait attack when cooperating with Finn and the others, directing and even overcoming it. A strategy of a movement. He cited the city's strongest mage as an example, which gave Lefiya a more concrete understanding. If you back down, you will lose. If you are afraid, you will lose. I don't know magic, but I know this. At least that woman, Philvis, was like that. The moment she heard the words he continued to say, Lefiya's will flared wildly. You don't have enough, go all the way, in you. Such a cool conclusion. It was very succinct and even embarrassed Lefiya because of her complacency. I thought I had already made up my mind, but Lefiya's was still far from it. What is lacking is the courage to really prepare to die, to play the song and the dagger. I've said all I have to say. If there's no change, I won't be with you anymore. A waste of time. Seeing Bet's dangerous eyes again, Lefiya nodded. She mounted her dagger and staff again and dashed forward. Release that light, the holy wood longbow. Accompanied by singing, the two collided with each other several times, and she was thrown into the air again and again, and the dirt was wiped away, continuing to fight. Lefiya, you worked so hard. Although you worked hard, but that shitty wolf is really ruthless. Several pillars in the hall stand, and a bridge between them is made of stone. Tiona and Tioni looked at the atrium scene. Lefiya and Bet are still exercising now, and they were curious about how the two were exercising, so they skipped lunch and watched. I was wondering what kind of training a vanguard and mage who doesn't use magic will do, but now, it seems that the content is much more serious than I thought. At least, Lefiya's moves are better than in the beginning. It's even better, be like a swordsman or as a wizard. Pursing their lips in dissatisfaction, leaning against Tiona at the railing, the second army members Narvi and Alicia continued on. Like Tiona, who still looks unsatisfied, Alicia and the others were opposed to the two exercising together at first. However, once it started, I saw that the Lefiya's style of movement and singing has really changed. Alicia, who is also an elf, knows very well that this is a seed that will one day mature and become skills and strategies. Bet seems to have considered the training content. No way. The exercise that Bet prepared for Lefiya was very simple. Even if Lefiya activates the magic, Bet's floss weight will absorb the magic effect, limited to only arrow of light. The possibility of damage to the base is close to zero. If a magical explosion occurs, he intends to use the same method to control it. As hard as it is, Bet's workouts are solid. No, Miss Tiona, Mr. Bete was the head of family life before, so he's not stupid. I'm serious. It would be nice to have some leadership skills, that's it. Upon hearing Raoul's words that she didn't know were speaking for him, Cruz crossed her arms and made a delicate expression. In the long air hall, there are a large number of troop members here, as well as the audience enjoying the performance. Tiona and Tioni, Alicia and Nervi, Anakitty and Raoul and Cruz. Lefiya, Lefiya too, go to Mr. Bete, Belle too, the same. Both Belle and Lefiya, go to Mr. Beth, now it is, the age of Mr. Beth. Miss A's, Miss A's. What the hell is going on? Seriously. Alfie spoke desperately to her. The girl with blonde hair and golden eyes kept repeating inexplicable murmurs, and she had been like this since Lefiya and Bete's training was resolved. In her heart, she fell to the ground wearing the extreme oriental uniform, and Aze also felt helpless. To such Aze, Tioni said, "Don't worry. Buy a ball of potato for her and everything will be fine. It's normal." She took a rather casual countermeasure. "How long will this exercise last?" "Not until Lefiya is satisfied." Lefiya, who fell to the ground suddenly, made Raoul make a "wow" expression. Seeing this, Aki sighed. There was also a slight look of concern on her face. The number of members who attend training here shows how much Lefiya has made friends and how much of an impression she makes. Beyond the sky corridor where Aze and the others were, there were other members of the group looking at Lefiya and the others.